Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of At Bat Recap. Today, we're getting back on track here. Had some technical difficulties last week. Episode got out way late. Almost was like old news, it felt like. But if you tuned in, I appreciate it. This week, we're going to talk the semifinals and the finals of the WBC. I know it already happened, so I'm just going to recap those three games. They were phenomenal games, absolute pitching duels, all three of them. And then I'm gonna go over some of the upcoming stuff in the MLB season. We got MLB taking off on Wednesday, so 2 more days, and opening day is here. Starts with the Yankees and the Giants. Thursday, most of the other teams will be starting their first games, and then I believe the rest of them will start on Friday. So it's going to be great. I'm excited. Baseball's finally back. I know we've had the WBC and we've had spring training, but baseball is back. The Padres, the Dodgers, rivalries, Texas and Houston. I love this. This is the atmosphere I'm excited for. This is what I'm ready for. And then I'm going to recap my fantasy. We did my fantasy draft last night. It was only 4.5 hours long, so not too bad. But I'm going to go over some of the guys I picked up and take a look at how my roster looks for this season. And maybe you can drop some comments. Let me know what you think my roster might look like. So, with that being said, step into the batter's box. This is At Bat Recap. Man, first let's talk about Dominican Republic versus USA because that game is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a pitching duel, but I really thought the Dominican Republic bats would wake up and just blow out the pitchers. Now, Paul Skeens, limited, 1 run. I mean, that's what you're going to expect out of Paul Skeens. But for the rest of the Dominican Republic hitters, they only had 8 hits total, which was low for them to begin with. Most of these guys have been going 3 for 4, 2 for 4, and not really striking out. They had 8 strikeouts. Nobody could get anything going. Now, Caminero taking Skeens deep in the second inning. That was great. I love that for that young guy. But the rest of these hitters just weren't doing, they weren't doing their jobs. Okay. They get runners in scoring position and then not move them. Judge, on the other hand, over there on the offensive side, also not doing anything. 2 strikeouts, 1 for 4. He was no help. Schwarber didn't do anything. Harper, 1 hit, 1 K. Bobby Witt Jr., 3 Ks and only 1 hit. So both sides, their stars just were not hitting the ball. Final score of 2-1, and it got one in the fourth inning. They scored 2 runs in the fourth inning, the United States did, and that was that. It was just silence after that. Shout out to the pitchers on both teams, because to only give up 2 runs to this USA lineup and to only give up 1 run to this Dominican lineup, I mean, that's something to be talked about. That's a hard task at hand. Skeens, 4.1 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 run, 2 Ks. The K number was down for him. That's a low K number. The rest of the Ks came off Bednar, Whitlock, and Miller. That's where they got all their Ks. So Severino pitched a great game. 5 hits, 1 run, 6 Ks, but he couldn't do anything else. Soto came in, gave up that last home run to blow the tie game. He got the loss in that one. So Uribe came in, Dominguez came in, Doval came in, and they all pitched great. They did their job. Just offensively on the Dominican side, they didn't do their job. United States barely pulled it out 2-1. So I was really shocked by that. I thought it was going to be flip-flopped. I didn't think it would be a high-scoring game, but I thought it would be flip-flopped and Dominican Republic would have been in the finals. And then we have Venezuela upsetting Italy. And I call it an upset because Italy had been on fire. They took out the entire pool that they were in. They took down the U.S. And I was like, man, these guys are ready to go. They took down Puerto Rico, who had been playing phenomenal baseball, but then they walked into a red hot Venezuela offense who just got done taking down Japan. I mean, they were a force to be reckoned with. Now, most of the hitters on that team weren't doing what they normally do. Acuna Jr., 1 for 5. Arise, 1 for 4. Excuse me. Now, Torres, 2 for 2 with a walk. I mean, those are the things. They ended up winning 4-2 against Italy. And I was very, very shocked that Italy only got 5 hits and only scored 2 runs. I really thought Italy would pull this out against Venezuela, but I mean, that's baseball for you. They had great pitchers, Aaron Nola. They used Lorenzen, Maricino. So they used their best pitchers, and Lorenzen just got attacked. Then Venezuelan offense came alive when he got out there, and he ended up giving 3 runs. So it was a good game. I enjoyed watching it. And I mean, I'm not saying Venezuela is a bad team. I just thought Italy was going to be the team in the finals against the Dominican. So I was wrong twice. But I don't think I was going to be wrong 3 times, because I did say, I believe I said, and I'll quote myself if I'm wrong, and I'll let you know. But I could have sworn I said, even if the USA makes it, they're not winning the finals. And they didn't. Venezuela came out and absolutely shut them down. It wasn't until the 8th inning is when Bryce Harper came up and hit a 2-run shot to tie it up. They only had 3 hits the whole game. One of those hits was the 2-run home run to tie the game up in the 8th inning. And I was like, oh man, USA's alive. They're woken up. They're ready to go. And then there's been a lot of controversy about why they didn't put Mason Miller in. In the 9th inning, it wasn't a close situation. It was tied 2-2, but they thought he might have been the guy to shut it down and not give Venezuela a chance. And they ended up putting in Whitlock, and he ended up giving up 1 run. It ended up being the deciding run. Venezuela won 3-2. Great for Venezuela. They played awesome baseball throughout the World Baseball Classic. I thought a rematch between them and the Dominican Republic would have been awesome. I also thought Italy versus Dominican Republic would have been awesome. But we got Venezuela versus the United States, and the United States went down swinging 3 times. 3 hits, 10 Ks. Judge struck out 3 times. Schwarber struck out 3 times. I mean, that's not something you see every day from all-star hitters like that. But hey, that is what it is. That is the World Baseball Classic. That's why these guys are out there. That's why these pitchers are out there. They pitched phenomenal, and I enjoyed watching that game. So Venezuela won. Congrats to them. They played great. 2028, I believe, is the next one, 2029. So, or actually, it might not even be till 2030. 2028 is the Los Angeles Olympics, and everybody says they're wanting to play baseball in that. And then they're ready for the WBC next time. I'm also ready for the WBC. I kind of want to go to Florida and check out a game out in Florida and not just go down to Houston, try to check out some of these other pools. I don't know if I'll ever make it to Japan. That'd be sweet to go watch baseball in the Tokyo Dome, but that's a trip that I don't know if I can make. But yeah, so that's the WBC. That's the finals. Congrats, Venezuela. USA just kind of fell flat in the last game. So that's baseball. But next, hey, let's talk about what the 2025 rankings were, standings, and kind of what I think they might be 2026. So let's start with the American League East. In the American League East, the Blue Jays won over the Yankees. They both had a 94-68 record. I think the head-to-head record, Blue Jays had it, and so that's why they won the division. Yankees and Red Sox, both wild card teams. Yankees 94-68, Red Sox 89 and 73. And then you had the Rays 77 and 85, and the Orioles 75 and 87. I think that this could go two different ways. One, I think the Orioles made enough moves this season to put them in the wild card contention. I don't know how the Rays are going to do. I imagine they'll lose the division this year. The Red Sox also made some okay moves, and I think they're right there too. So I'm thinking Yankees are going to win the division, and depending on what happens with this Blue Jays pitching situation, because they're missing 3 starters to start the season, it could go one or two ways for them. So right now, my assumption is the Yankees 93 wins, Blue Jays 89 wins, Red Sox 88 wins, and the Orioles 90 wins. I think the Orioles are going to be up there, and they're going to get second in the division, and they're going to be a wild card team. We'll see what happens. It could happen. Next, we got the AL Central. We got the Guardians, Tigers, Royals, Twins, and White Sox. White Sox 60 and 102. I don't think they're going to be that bad this year. I think they'll be closer to 70 and 92 or 75 and 85. I think they have a much better team this season than they did last season. Wins last season 70 and 92. They're probably going to be right back around that same spot. I don't see them improving too much this season, so we'll just have to see. Royals 82 and 80. Flip that. They're going to be 80 and 82. That's what I think. I think they're going to be a sub 500 team this season. They still got some young guys coming up. Excuse me. They got a young teams. We'll see. Tigers 87 and 75. Wild cards. I think the Tigers are going to win the division this year. They did not like the feeling of losing the division to the Guardians, who were 88 and 74. And I think the Tigers are going to be 90 win team. I think the Guardians are going to be still right there, 88, 89 wins. But I think the Tigers are going to win the AL Central this year. That's my pick. And then the AL West. So we just got finished breaking down everybody but the Angels. And the Angels finished last in the division last year, 72 and 90. I don't expect them to do much more than that. However, I was just talking with somebody today. The Athletics, they're right there. They have a phenomenal offensive group, a young, powerful offensive group. The Rangers, 81 and 81 last season. I think they can be a plus 500 team. The Astros plus 500. The Mariners, I don't think are going to win the division this year. They're not the same Mariners team that they were last season. And I think some of those guys just had career years, and that's all it was a career year. And I don't think most of those guys will repeat. Some of those guys will continue to be playing prime baseball, but the rest of those guys will not. So my pick is the Astros to win the division, 90 wins, followed by the Rangers and the Athletics, and then the Mariners. I really think the Mariners are going to backtrack. Even though they have 2 or 3 really good starting pitchers, I don't think the offense is going to swing like they did last season. And I really think the Athletics are a borderline wild card team. So I'm going 90 wins for the Astros, 85 for the Rangers, 84, 85 for the Athletics. And then I'm thinking probably 80 and 80, 81 and 81, 80 and 82, 82 and 80 for the Seattle Mariners this season. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's baseball. Anything can happen. But that's kind of my take on the American League. So I think the Yankees will make it to the American League championship game, as well as the Tigers. That's the American League championship game I want to see. The Yankees and the Tigers. And then from there, I think depending on if Garrett Cole comes back and is healthy and pitches well, the Yankees might have one of the better rotations in the American League. But the Tigers do have a really nice rotation. And they have a lot of I don't want to say they don't have stars because everybody has some stars on their team, but they don't have the same kind of hitters that the Yankees have. And the Yankees have a deadly outfield with Judge. And if Grisham can have another phenomenal year like he did last season, he's going to be great in center field. And then Bellinger over there in left field. So they have three of some of the best outfielders in the league right now. And Grisham's a Gold Glove winner at center field. So he's a phenomenal defender. He just hasn't always been consistent at the plate. And so we'll see what happens this year. But my vote is for the Yankees to go to the World Series, especially if Garrett Cole comes back healthy and starts leading this rotation with Max Fried. So that's my pick for the AL American League. All right, now the National League, my favorite league. We got the National League East. Phillies 96 and 66, Mets 83 and 79, Marlins 79 and 83, Braves 76 and 86, and then the Nationals 66 and 96. Now listen, it was weird seeing the Marlins play better baseball than the Braves, but the Braves dealt with so many injuries, and they're already starting the season with so many injuries. The only thing going for them is most of the injuries are not their stars. So Ozzy Albies is healthy, Acuna's healthy, Austin Riley is healthy. So I think they're going to get back into the 80-win category. I don't think they're going to win the division. I still think the Phillies are going to continue to win the division. I don't think the Mets have it. My pick is Phillies 94, 95 wins, Braves 86, 87 wins, 82 wins. Marlins, they're going to drop back down into the 70s or stay in the 70s, 75 wins. And then the Nationals, I don't know. They keep selling. They're selling everybody. So I don't know what they want to do, but they're not going to win the division. That's for sure. Probably 65, 68 wins this season. And then the Brewers, 97 wins last season. I think they had the most wins in the MLB last season, if I'm not mistaken. Great for them. Phillies right there. Cubs 92 and 70. Reds 83 and 79. I really thought the Cubs were right there. And then they lost Kyle Tucker. And so I don't know if the Cubs are the same team from last season, especially having to replace a bat like Kyle Tucker. You don't just replace him. Somebody has to step up and play all MLB type baseball. And I don't know if they have anybody on that roster to do that. So right now I got the Brewers winning the division again. I don't think the Cubs are going to make the playoffs this season. The surprise in the National League Central, though, is the Pirates are doing some things. They picked up a few hitters. They have great pitching now. Not all the way. There's still some hiccups in their rotation. But if some of these young guys come in, Bubba Chandler comes in and starts pitching phenomenal, that would be huge for them. And then if Connor Griffin ends up either making the opening day roster or getting called up at some point, I think he's going to make a huge impact on this offense, and it's something they need. They got to get run support for Paul Skeens. If the Pirates make it to the playoffs, they're guaranteed 2 wins every time. Paul Skeens will pitch back-to-back days if he has to. And I think he's got the talent to do it. I think he is one of the best pitchers in the MLB right now. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards Pirates second in the National League Central, 86 wins. It'll be cool to see, make the playoffs. I think they're going to be kind of the same, 83 and 79. I think they're going to be sitting right about the same spot next year. So, and then the Cardinals are going to lose the division this year. So now let's get down to the nitty gritty. The National League West. My Padres, my Dodgers, the Giants, Diamondbacks, Rockies. I said my Dodgers. They're not my Dodgers. Losing the division by 3 games to the Dodgers is brutal. They had a phenomenal offense last year. Terrible starting pitching. And I say terrible because their starting pitching was hurt for so long. They were relying on some rough AAA pitchers coming in and next man up. And I think the only thing saving those guys was the fact that they have the run support that some of these other pitchers don't have. Their bullpen was terrible. Tanner Scott blew, I don't know how many saves last season. And it just felt like the Padres were right there every step of the way, and they just couldn't get it done. So it was disheartening, and especially to lose in the wild card to the Cubs. I really thought if we could get past the Cubs, we could make a run for it. It would have been cool. Who knows? Maybe this year. Maybe we'll do it this year. That'd be sweet. Giants, they actually look pretty nice this year. I think they're going to be an 85, 86 win team. I think the Dodgers and the Padres are going to be right there, 94, 95 wins together. And they're going to duke it out for the division title again. Diamondbacks, 80 and 82. They'll probably be sitting right about the same. Now, the Rockies, 43 and 119. I don't think they're going to lose 119 games this year. They might lose 162. No, I'm just kidding. No, the Rockies, they're the Rockies. You know, they have some good young talent. They just don't have the pitching staff. They got a new coach this year, so we'll see what they do. 50, 60 wins, maybe just right at about 100 losses. Nothing crazy. So my pick, I would love nothing more than to see the Dodgers and the Padres end up in the American League or the National League Championship game, duking it out to go to the World Series. I would love nothing more than that. But most likely scenario is they meet in the division series, and whoever wins that matchup in the division series will go to the World Series, and hopefully take out the Yankees, who I also picked to go to the World Series. So I can't just pick one team, because if I just say the Padres, you say, oh, you're just a Padres fan. And if I say the Dodgers, well, everybody says the Dodgers because the Dodgers have the two-peat. They're going for the three-peat, so they have the best chance at three-peating. But I really think it's between those two teams. The Phillies have a great team, but it just seems like they fall apart at the end of the season into the playoffs every year. Same thing with the Brewers. They lose all their momentum at the end of the season. And so if you win 97, 96 games, it doesn't matter. What matters is what you do in the playoffs. And the Dodgers make that happen every single season. So, I mean, just looking at it, the playoff picture from last year, I really thought Detroit was going to take out Seattle. And if that would have happened, I thought the Detroit would have gone to the World Series. And I think the World Series matchup would have been different. Now, I really thought once the Blue Jays got to the World Series, after watching them take down the Yankees, after watching them take down Seattle, I thought it was Blue Jays 100%. I did not expect the Dodgers to go back to back. Yamamoto came out and just pitched phenomenal throughout the World Series. I mean, that's why he won the World Series MVP. You just can't beat that type of pitching, especially in a win or go home situation in the World Series after pitching 2 days ago. So it is what it is. The Dodgers won. Milwaukee took out the Cubs, which I thought the Padres could have taken out Milwaukee, but can't take out Milwaukee if you can't take out Chicago. And so that just is what it is. Phillies, once again, 3-1. They just couldn't do nothing in the NLDS. And it just felt like the Reds just weren't ever there. The Dodgers just decimated them in 2 games. So that was in the wild card round. But that's baseball. That's playoff baseball. I'm excited for this season to see what goes on. It could be awesome. It could be really, really awesome. There could be some really good things happening, and who knows? So somebody that I'm looking forward to watching this season is Dalton Varsho. And I don't say that lightly because I did draft him in my fantasy league, but he kind of struggled last season and he he wasn't the same guy that he used to be. He's getting older, he's about to turn 30, but I don't know, just watching him this spring, it just feels like he's about to break out and he's about to have a prime 30-year-old season. So we'll see what happens there. That's my breakout candidate for 2026 is Dalton Varsho. So keep an eye on him. So now that we've broke that down, we talked WBC, we talked the MLB, what I think my predictions are for standings and for the championship games and for the World Series teams. I didn't pick a World Series champion. So I'll say this. If the Dodgers make it, they won't three-peat. If the Dodgers make it to the World Series, they won't three-peat. But I said it was between the Dodgers and the Padres. If the Padres make it, I think they take down the Yankees. If the Padres make it, they take down the Yankees. But if the Yankees and the Dodgers play, the Yankees are going to take it. That's my prediction. And if come October, my prediction rings true, call me a psychic. I don't know. It'd be pretty cool. But hey, let's talk fantasy real quick, just because some people have asked me about it. I'm thinking about bringing the commissioner on soon and having a night with him and we just talk about the league. He knows so much about this league. He's so smart about it. Obviously, he created it. So, and I've only been in it for a couple years, so I don't know everything there is to know about it. But so we talked about my fantasy league. It's a 40-man roster. We get $100 to start the season with for keepers, and every player is issued a price based on where they were drafted and what year they were drafted. All like right now, everybody that was drafted in 2022, this is the last year you can keep them. There's no price on them anymore. So at the end of this season, they'll go back into the draft pool. But for me this season, I was able to keep Pete Alonso, Manny Machado, Zach Neto, Brent Rooker, Max Fried, CJ Abrams, Nick Pavetta, George Springer, Kyle Bradish, and Trey Savage. So that was exactly $100 on the dot. And somebody told me, they're like, I don't think that's ever happened. And then this was an expansion year. So we added 2 more teams. And one of the expansion teams was able to, after we dropped all our guys, they were able to draft they did an expansion draft off of the players we dropped before the regular draft. And they, one of the other guys did $100 exactly too. And I thought that was really cool. But then to start off, I had the 5th overall pick in the draft. Austin Riley was available, and I didn't take him. I took Brandon Nimmo from the Texas Rangers. And then I also had the 9th overall pick in the first round. And even though I have Brent Rooker, he played enough games in the outfield last year, so he doesn't just have a utility designation. He has an outfield designation now. So I moved him to the outfield, and I drafted Christian Yelich. So I was kind of excited about that pick and him 9th overall. I thought I was going to take Altuve with my 5th overall pick, and then I just kind of started looking into Nimmo, and I really liked his upside, and so I went with Nimmo, and then I was like, man, maybe I could get Altuve 9th overall, and he went 8th overall. So, I mean, you snooze, you lose on that. So I took Yelich, and then I got Ozzy Albies in the 2nd round, 5th pick, and then in the 3rd round, I took Tyler Mahle, a former Ranger, now he's with San Francisco. I really like his stuff. I think he's a great pitcher. And then I told you my breakout candidate, Dalton Varsho, took him in the 5th round. I didn't have a 4th round pick. And I also didn't have a 6th or a 7th round pick. You know what I mean? So, and then 8th round, 107th overall pick, I took Jeff McNeil. I kind of picked him because one, he can slot in. The way our league works is if you play 25 games or more in a position, you get that designation. So he has second base, center field, and outfield. So I picked him because he was a little versatile, but I also thought he was going to be a good leader for this young athletics team. So I was looking forward to that. Abner Uribe, took him, relief pitcher from Milwaukee, took him in the 9th round. And then the Dominican banger, Austin Wells, I took him, the catcher for the Yankees, in the 10th round. And then I like this pick. So I took Parker Messick. He's a rookie pitcher, Cleveland. He made the opening day roster. He made the starting rotation. I took him in the 11th round. He's kind of just a high upside pick that I took him in the 11th round. I was like, I wanted to grab him early because I felt like somebody was going to get him. There was a few rounds where I had people slotted to go, and they went like 2 or 3 picks before me. A couple of them went like the pick before me, and it really threw me off at times where I was like, all right, now let's switch here. Chris Bassett, another. I got a bunch of Baltimore pitchers. I don't know what it is. I don't think Baltimore has the best rotation. They just kind of fell in my lap. Chris Bassett, I think if he can have a 3.5, 3.7 ERA year and get his strikeouts up, get some swing and miss, I think he'll be all right for me. Nolan Arenado, 13th round, third baseman, Arizona. I took him because he's had a couple off years and he's really trying to get back to the first couple years he was in St. Louis, and now he's with Arizona. I just thought maybe he'll step into Arizona and just start being a banger again. Jason Adam, my guy, took him in the 14th round. He's starting on the injured list this season. They already announced that, so that's all right. And then Freddie Fermin, San Diego catcher. He's my second catcher. I took him in the 15th round. And then this is another, what I think is a high upside, low risk pick, was Rhett Lauder, the starting pitcher for Cincinnati. He also is a rookie that made the starting rotation, so I look forward to him having a phenomenal season. Adrian Morejon, had to get him. I don't think I've never had him. Same with Adam. I had both of those guys last year, and they were phenomenal relievers for me. Nick Martinez, I had him last year, and he's with Tampa Bay now. So he's always been a middle of the pack starter, especially after he changed to starter when he was with the Padres. So I like that pick. Taylor Rogers, relief pitcher from Minnesota. I'm pretty sure he's the submarine pitcher out of the brothers. I always forget Taylor and Tyler which one is which, but I'm pretty sure Taylor is the submariner. He's hard to hit sometimes. I watch guys swing and miss on him all the time, so he's got some high upside. Brian Bello, next in the 19th round. And then again, Brian King in the 19th round. Got my Jake Cronenworth, the Crone Zone. He looked really strong in spring, so he might get a little more playing time on my roster than I anticipate. Brian Hayes, Alec Thomas, Chris Martin. I think he's probably one of the better relievers for the Rangers. So I was glad he was there in the 22nd round. Mauricio Dubon, Cole Sands. I had him last year. He was phenomenal for me as well. Relief pitcher for Minnesota. Angel Martinez. I got him in the 23rd round, and I just thought he had versatility, second base, center field, and outfield again. Jansen Junk. So I almost regret taking him, but I'm going to hold on to him for a minute and see if he can do anything. I started looking back through some players that are there right now, and there's actually some better pitchers there. And so it is what it is. We'll see how he does. I got him in the 23rd round. Zach Eflin, another Baltimore pitcher. I took him in the 26th round. And then Brian Rojillo, second base shortstop from Cleveland, and Luis Renifo from Milwaukee. So that's my draft. 30 picks. Those are all my guys. I don't know. Tell me what you think of my roster after hearing all the guys that I drafted, hearing who I'm starting with, and let me know what you think. All right. But man, that's all I got to do about fantasy. Like I said, I'm going to try to get my commissioner on and see if he doesn't want to come in and talk about the league and everything like that. I'm excited for this season ahead. I'm looking forward to it. Some things that are different this year, we're doing errors, and I forgot about that. And if I would have remembered that, I probably would not have traded in the off season. I probably would not have traded for CJ Abrams, because if you know CJ Abrams, he is a error happy. He is an error happy shortstop. He makes a lot of errors. And I don't think he's a bad player. He plays so hard and he just blows through some of that stuff. Overthrows the second baseman, overthrows the first baseman. And so I'm just kind of praying for him to have a better season fielding wise. I know he's going to hit well and he's going to run well. So, but that's it. So the WBC, we talked about the semifinals, breaking down the finals. We talked about my predictions for the MLB season ahead. Opening day, New York Yankees, San Francisco Giants, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Central. I'm excited for that. And I broke down some of the fantasy stuff. We'll still get into it. We'll talk more about it, especially as the season goes on. Maybe I can get my commissioner in here. So, but until next time, keep your eye on the ball, and I'll see you on the next At Bat Recap.